All right, so we have one goal for today, and that is I can find missing values given parallel lines cut by a transversal. So we're going to take what we learned at the end of the last lesson and apply it to this lesson. So go ahead and give yourself a 1, 2, or 3. All right, but before we do that, let's go ahead and start with the warm-up. You can pause the video and try this yourself. Given the diagram, classify each angle pair. So we want to know if they're alternate interior, alternate exterior, corresponding, or same side interior angles. If they're not any of those, maybe they're a linear pair or vertical angles. All right, so let's see how you did. So the first set is 2 and 6. So here's my double line, so that's what I'm looking at. Okay, so if you look, 2 is on the outside, 6 is on the inside, so exterior, interior is out. The only options corresponding, if you look at the 2, it's in the upper right-hand corner. If you look at the 6, it's in the upper right-hand corner of its group of 4. So I'm looking at groups of 4 like this. Okay, so they are corresponding angles. You can abbreviate angles with that symbol right there. All right, next is 3 and 5. So let me delete my 2 circled. So 3 and 5. So I still have my double lines outlined, so you can see that 3 and 5 are in between both of them, so they're interior. Are they on the same side or alternate sides of the transversal? They're on the same side, so these are same side interior angles. All right, next we have angle 1 and angle 2. Here's angle 1, here's angle 2. They're both on the outside. My only option from my special pairs is alternate exterior angles, but that would be like 1 and 8 or 2 and 7. So these two right next to each other, the only thing that's special about them, which is still pretty special, is that they form a straight line. So they are a linear pair. All right, next 8 and 1. So here's 1, 8. If you notice, they're both on the outside of my double line, so they're exterior, and they're on alternate sides of the transversal. So alternate exterior angles. Last but not least, we have 7 and 6. All right, so if you look at 6, it's on the interior. If you look at 7, it's on the exterior. So special types of interior exterior angles are out. And then if you also look, they're not corresponding because they're in the same group. So I say, okay, well, what kind of angles are these? If you look, these are angles we know from chapter 1. These are vertical angles. Okay, so let's remind ourselves of what we learned at the end of the last lesson. It says if we're given parallel lines, which we weren't given parallel lines here, notice. If we're given parallel lines, then we know that alternate exterior angles are congruent. Alternate interior. Alternate exterior angles are also congruent. Corresponding angles are congruent. And then same side interior angles are supplementary. So notice only one set supplementary, and it's same side interior angles are supplementary. So make sure that you remember which one's supplementary, and then you can realize the rest are congruent. Okay, so here's an example of a problem. It says find x and any missing angles that you can find. All right, so what we need to do is we need to look at the 2 angles, and we need to see, okay, the 2 angles that they give us, what kind of angles are they? So if you look, these are the 2 angles right here. Here are my parallel lines. Now, one thing that I need to tell you also is that these arrows right here mean that the lines are parallel. So whenever you see a double set of arrows on a line, that notice they're not on the ends, they're like just on the lines themselves, that means that those lines are parallel. All right, so if you look at this angle and this angle, they're both on the inside, but they're on alternate sides of the parallel lines. So these are alternate interior angles. What do we know about alternate interior angles? They are congruent. So if they are congruent, remember that means equal. So I know this is equal to this, and I can set them equal to each other. So we're going to do 7x minus 31 is equal to 4x plus 8. And now I need to solve that. So combining like terms on each side, there's no like terms on the left, there's no like terms on the right, but I need to get all my x's on one side. So I'm going to start by subtracting 4x from both sides. So now I have 3x minus 31 is equal to 8. Add 31 to both sides. 3x is equal to 39. Divide by 3, divide by 3. X equals 13. So now let's see if they ask me for x. It says find x and any missing angles. So I'm going to box this because x is 13. And now I want to find any missing angles. Okay? So let me delete some of this stuff here so that it's not so cluttery. All right, so let's start off by finding this angle right here. Okay, if I find that angle right there, all that I have to do is plug in, what was it again, 13 into that expression. So I'm going to do 7 times 13 and then minus 31. 7 times 13 is 91. 91 minus 31 is 60 degrees. So now I know this angle is 60 degrees. So I'm just going to write over it like that. And remember, vertical angles are congruent. This is 60 degrees. This is a linear pair. So I can say 180 minus 60. This is 120 degrees. That means this is 120 also. Now, just to make sure I'm doing it correctly, I'm going to plug in 13 into my other expression also. 4 times 13 plus 8. Yeah, that's 52 plus 8, which is 60. So this is 60 also. And it should be because we said they were congruent. That means this angle is 60. This is 120. And this is 120. So you're able to find all of them, notice. And you can just write over them. Okay. So that's the gist of what we'll be doing. So the key to this is being able to identify what type of angles they are, so you know whether they're equal or supplementary, if they're congruent or they're supplementary. Let's try another one here. Find x and any missing angles that you can find. So I'm looking at this angle and this angle right here. All right, so if I look at here are my parallel lines, and once again, I know they're parallel because of that arrow right there. If you look, the 9x plus 12 is on the outside, so exterior, but then the 13x minus 32 is on the inside, so interior. So I can't have one that's exterior and one that's interior and have one of my special pairs unless they're corresponding. So now I want to say, okay, where are they located in their group before? This is in the upper left-hand corner. This is in the upper left-hand corner. So in their group of 4, they correspond to each other. So they're corresponding angles. What do we know about corresponding angles? Corresponding angles are congruent. So if they're congruent, I can set them equal to each other. So I'm going to do 9x plus 12 is equal to 13x minus 32. No like terms on the left side. So if I look at the left side, no like terms. Right side, no like terms. So I'm going to get all my x's on one side. So I'm going to subtract 9x from both sides. I have 12 equals 4x minus 32. Add 32 to both sides. 44 is equal to 4x. And my equal sign, there we go. And then divide by 4 to get x by itself. So this is x equals 11. All right, so now I know that. Also, I forgot to write this. It doesn't ask me to, but it's good practice. These were corresponding angles, and I know corresponding angles are congruent. All right, now I can find the angle that's 9x plus 12 or the one that's 13x minus 32. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go off to the side and do 9 times 11 plus 12. So it's 99 plus 12, which is 111 degrees. So I know this angle is 111 degrees. This angle is 111 degrees. I'm going to do 180 minus 111. That's 9. I got to borrow from there. That's 6, so 69 degrees. 69 degrees, 69 degrees. You can use a calculator, but I'm just using mental math, obviously, or I guess side math. All right, now I need to find the other set of 4. So once again, people will say like, wait, you said they're congruent. Isn't this 111? It should be, but I want to double check that make sure my math is correct by plugging in 11 here. So So I got 13 times 11 minus 32. So that's 131, 43 minus 32 is 111. So this is 111 degrees. This is 111 degrees. This is 69 degrees. This is 69 degrees. Now you might be saying to yourself, like, are we going to get off, take points taken off if I don't check it in this one? If it's right, absolutely not. But if it's wrong, then all of these you have to realize are going to be wrong. Okay, they're all wrong. If you don't get that it works in the other one, that means that all 8 of your answers are wrong and you never checked it in the second one. That's what I'll know. So that I will be able to know if you check it or not. Okay. Next one. So first off, I want us to decide what type of angles they are. Here are my parallel lines. Wow, I did a very terrible job of tracing them. That's okay. Notice they're both on the inside, so they're interior. And then if you look, they're on the same side of the transversal. So these are same side interior angles. Same side interior angles are supplementary. So what does supplementary mean? Add to 180. So I know that this angle plus this angle is 180 degrees. So let's go ahead and solve for x. So we're going to do 10x minus 22. And remember, they're not equal. They add to 180 degrees. All right, this time, if you look on your left-hand side, there are like terms that I can combine. 10x and 9x is 19x. Negative 22 and positive 12 is negative 10. Equals 180. Now I can add 10 to both sides. 19x equals 190. And I can divide by 19. So I get x equals 10. All right, now that I know that x equals 10, I can go and find all my angles. So I'll start with the one that's 10x minus 22. So I'm going to do 10 times 10 minus 22. So that's 100 minus 22, which is 78 degrees. So this angle is 78 degrees. This angle is 78 degrees. I can do 180 minus 78, and I get 102. So this angle is 102, and this angle is 102. All right, now I'm going to plug in x into the other expression. 9 times 10 plus 12, that's 90 plus 12, which is my 102. Remember, they weren't congruent. I wasn't supposed to get 78. I was supposed to get the number that adds to 180. So 102, 102, 78, 78. And if you check really quickly, you still have that corresponding angles are congruent, so you didn't mix them up. Okay. Next one, find x and any missing angles that you can find. So first off, I look and I see that this is on the outside, this is on the outside of my parallel line, so exterior, and they're on alternate sides of the transversal, so they're alternate exterior angles, which are congruent. So I'm going to do 11x minus 20 is equal to 4x plus 15. No like terms on the left-hand side, no like terms on the right-hand side. I'm going to get all my x's on one side. 11x is more, so it's going to stay, and I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So now I have 7x minus 20 is equal to 15. Add 20 to both sides. 7x is equal to 35, and then divide by 7, and I get x is equal to 5. Remember, showing your algebra is very important here. This is integrated algebra and geometry. Okay, so now I need to find my angles. So I'll start with the one that's 11x minus 20. It doesn't matter which one you start with. 11 times 5 minus 20. 11 times 5 is 55. 55 minus 20 is 35 degrees. So I just got this angle is 35 degrees. I know vertical angles are congruent. Then I'm going to do 180 minus 35, which is 145 degrees. So this is 145, and this is 145. Now I'm going to come over to this group of 4. I know I should get 35, but I'm going to double check. 4 times 5 plus 15, which is 35. So this is 35. This is 35. 180 minus 35, 145, 145. Okay. All right. So let's move on to this next set. This next set is a little bit more complicated, but I think that most of you will actually like this because they're like little puzzles. All right, so it says, given the diagram, solve for all the variables. So first off, I see I see a set of parallel lines because I can see these arrows right here. So those are my parallel lines. All right, so now I look and I notice that I see a few different variables. I see W, X, and Y. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for what there's multiples of. There's only one W, there's only one Y, but there's two X's. So that's what I'm going to solve for first. So I'm going to look, I'm going to say, okay, these are my two angles. What kind of angles are those two angles? They're on the inside and they're on the same side. So they're same side interior angles. So therefore they are supplementary. So I'll start by saying 3x minus 6 plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 180. And I'll solve for x. There's like terms on the left-hand side, so I'll combine those. That's 5x. And then negative 6 and positive 1 is minus 5 equals 180. Add 5 to both sides. 5x is equal to 185. And then divide by 5. So x equals 37. All right, so now I know x is equal to 37. The next step is really important and people forget about it all the time. Okay, now that you know x is 37, I also know what this angle is. This angle is, in fact, I know what all of the angles are. So what I'm going to do next is plug that value back in. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 times 37 minus 6. So 3 times 37 minus 6 is 105. So now I know I'm going to cross this off because I don't even need it anymore. This is 105. This is 105, okay? And I can figure out the other two I can do. But first I'll do the 2x one. So 2 times 37 plus 1, that is 75. So I can cross this off because I don't need it anymore. The ones with x in it, that's 75, that's 75, okay? Now I know also that this is 105, this is 105, this is 75, this is 75, okay? All right, so now I can solve for W and Y. So realize this angle is 75 degrees, and it's also labeled W minus 15. So to solve for W, I know that W minus 15 must be equal to 75. Okay, W minus 15 must be equal to 75. So add 15 to both sides, and I get W is 90. Not 90 degrees, just 90. If I want to solve for y, I know 6y plus 4 is equal to 75. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. I get 6y equals 71. And then divide by 6. I don't get a nice answer. You can go ahead and put that in your calculator and see what you get. You get y equals, and then it's 11.833333333333. So I'm going to write 11.83, and then the 3's repeat, so I'll put the repeat bar over the 3. And there's my answers. All right, let's try another similar one here. This one says, given the diagram, solve for x and find any missing values that you can. All right, so on this diagram here, there's 2 ways to solve for x. So you pick a way to solve for x and then find the rest of the angles. Okay, the 2 ways that you could have used to solve for x is, no way, you can't do this problem, okay? Why can we not do this problem? We can't do this problem because I shouldn't say we can't do this problem. There's not 2 ways that you can do this problem. There's 1 way you can do this problem. So people will always say, can I set these 2 equal to each other because they're alternate interior angles? They are alternate interior angles. That is correct. But these are not parallel lines. So those 2 angles are not congruent. That's for sure, okay? Because those lines aren't parallel, those angles are not equal. So my only way to solve for x is to say these two are equal to each other. So, and why are these two equal to each other for sure? Those are vertical angles. Vertical angles are always equal to each other. So to solve for x, I have 4x minus 9 is equal to 3x plus 1. Subtract 3x from both sides. X minus 9 equals 1. Add 9 to both sides. X equals 10. All right, go ahead and plug 10 in and find your angles. All right, let's see how you did. I'm going to do 4 times 10 minus 9, which is 31 degrees. So this is 31 degrees. I'm going to double check by plugging it in here just to see I get 31 again. 3 times 10 plus 1 is 31. So 31 is correct. Then I can do 180 minus 31. I get this is 149 and 149. So the biggest mistake people will make is they'll put 31 here, 31 here. No, right? These are not parallel lines. So I need to plug in x there. 2 times, what was it again? 10. 10 plus 7. That is 27 degrees. This is 27 degrees. And then if I do 180 minus 27, I get 153 degrees. Okay? So why don't we have 2 different numbers and we have 4 different numbers? And that's because we were never given that those lines are parallel. Okay, the very last one here. Actually, yes, it is the very last one. The very last one here, it says find the value of all the missing variables. So once again, you're going to start it the same way. You're going to say, all right, what can I solve for first? So I have 1z, 1y, and 3 different x's. So I know that I can solve for x first if I'm going to be able to solve for anything. So I'm going to use my parallel lines to help me. So first off, I see x here, here, and here. And obviously, I'm only going to use 2 of them to solve for x. So which 2? If I look at these 2, there's nothing special about them. They don't form a straight line. They don't involve a set of parallel lines. If I look at these 2, there is something special about them. They're both in between these parallel lines right here. So they're inside, and they're on the same side of this transversal. So those are same side interior angles. So same side interior angles are supplementary. So I can solve for x by saying these 2 angles add to 180. 7x plus 9 plus 3x plus 11 equals 180. Combine like terms. 10x plus 20 equals 180. Subtract 20. 10x equals 160. Divide by 10. Divide by 10. X equals 16. All right, now I can plug that into my other angles. So I'm going to do 7 times 16 plus 9. 7 times 16 plus 9 is 121. 70, 42, 121. Yeah, that's right. 121. So this is 121. All right, 3 times 16 plus 11. 3 times 16, that's 30, plus 18 is 48, 59. So this is 59, which does add to 180, so I know I did it right. Now I can find this one because it has an x in it. 11 times 16 minus 1. 11 times 16 minus 1 is 74, 76, 75. So 175. Here my mental math, right? 175. And if you're like, wait, these don't add to 180, they're not supposed to, right? It's supposed to be more than 180. It's bigger than a straight line. Okay, now I still need to find z and y. So I'm going to start with y because it comes first in the alphabet and I feel like it. So if you look, these 2 angles right here, hold on, let me highlight what I'm talking about, or I'll do a different color highlighter. This angle and this angle are supplementary. They're same side interior angles. So they have to add to 180. So I know that this angle is 5 degrees right here. Okay, I need to solve for y still though. So I'm going to do 2, I can box this because I needed that, 2y plus 5 is equal to 5. Subtract 5 from both sides. 2y is equal to 0, and then divide by 2. 0 divided by 2 is 0, so y is 0. And if you check, if you plug 0 back in here, you do get 5. All right, last I have to get z. These two angles form a linear pair. So if I do 180 minus 121, I get 59 degrees. So this angle is 59 degrees, and therefore z is 59 degrees. All right, that's it for practice today. This was probably our most difficult one to work with, but I feel like a lot of you feel good about these last two here, okay? All right, go ahead and re-rate yourself on how you feel about finding missing values given parallel lines cut by transversal.